Looks like he's under a bunker again. Stelios from Tottenham away. What's going on, Stelios?
Yeah, hi Ben, hi Sim. Look, I can only apologise about my internet. Where I live, it's just abysmal, and until I move, which will be in the new year, I'm always going to have this poor internet. So it is what it is.
Who's your provider? Call him out publicly, as Ange does.
Well, it's BT. I've tried to switch to Virgin, but they won't put the fibre optic cables to my house. So even if I change provider, I'm still going to be on some 1990s wire, or whatever it is. I'm not a technical guy, so it is what it is, man.
Hashtag BT out.
BT out, Sky out, everyone out.
Come on, Stel, what do you want to get into? Because, you know, we've been talking for a while. Timo this, Timo that. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, look, I want to say this first, okay? I don't say things to be controversial. I say it because that's what I truly believe, and it's what I think. And a lot of people in our... Look, I'm going to say it as it is, guys, because it's the only way I can do it. I can't try and be something I'm not. Our fan base... I'm really, really sorry if anyone's watching this show or watches it later on and this upsets you. Our fan base is the problem. We have got one of the most low standard accepting fan bases of any so-called big club. And I want to explain what I mean by this before everyone loses their minds in the chat. Okay. Last season, when we had Ange, I came on this show and I said, we've got to back this guy, get behind Ange. And I said, the guy deserves a season because he's lost Harry Kane. Every previous manager for the last 8-9 years has had Harry Kane. This guy starts his job at Spurs and he loses the best player we've got. I mean, give him a break. And we didn't bring in a replacement. So give him a year. Let's see what he does. And then next season, we can begin to judge. And the one non-negotiable I had, and I came on your show, you clipped the video, and
I remember what you... I think I know what you're going to say. I remember.
I'll repeat it, because maybe some who watch YouTube have got a short memory, right? I said, the only non-negotiable I've got is re-signing Timo Werner.
Yeah.
If we re-sign Timo Werner, I'm Ange out. And I came on the show and I said, I'm done. He's a yes man. He's a puppet. He's another problematic manager. He's another manager that's going to toe the line. And, you know, you guys basically said, well, shouldn't you wait until the end of the window before we make any decisions? And I said, no, because if you're a manager and you accept Joe Rodon, Dan Juma, Clement Longley, I'm sorry, you're accepting failure. And this goes for the previous managers as well. The difference this time was that after Conte's rant, he told every Spurs fan and every rival fan how it works at Spurs. For 10 minutes, he told us the truth. I urge everyone to go back and watch that Conte video. Word for word, man, what he said, we're seeing now. So I said to myself, I now know the truth. So I can't back another manager at this club who accepts anything that the previous managers have accepted. The truth is out now. And that's why I said, for me, Timo Werner is a non-negotiable.
But Stelios, that means you're not going to accept any manager that comes in after Ange, because they're only going to hire managers that are going to accept the way that they work. So what difference is it sacking Ange or hiring another manager?
Right, I'll come to that. I'm going to answer that question. That's a brilliant question, by the way, and I will answer it. I just want to finish what I was going to say, and then I'll definitely answer that. On that video, when I called in 6 months ago, I said, signing Timo Werner is a sign of things to come. We've seen this before. 24 years of this poisonous ownership, this diabolical chairman and board of directors. I know what's coming. I don't need to be told Eze, Neto, Ivan, Tony, Gallagher are coming to Spurs. It's not going to happen. I said this on that video. It didn't happen. Fans, in the comments of that video, I got slammed by the fan, absolutely battered. But guess what? I'm owed 900 apologies because I called it spot on. And what we're seeing now is exactly what I said. I said the wheels would come off. I said we haven't built a squad good enough. I said that Ange is a yes man and a puppet, and Timo Werner was the catalyst. And it's all played out that way because I've seen it all before. To answer your question, Ben, and it's an excellent question, what's the point of getting rid of Ange? Because the next manager will be the same problem. For me, Levy and Enoch have to go. And until fans stand up to them, then the fans are the problem. If this upsets you, I'm not going to apologise because it's the truth. Either we demand we behave like a big club and we demand that we do everything in our powers to try and compete at the highest level, because that's what this stadium was for. That's what that training ground was for. That's what all these riches we've now managed to acquire were for. And we're not seeing it play out that way. Regarding Ange, if we sack him, will things change at Spurs? Yes and no. No, I still don't think we'll win a trophy because that's what Enoch and Levy are about. They're not interested in silverware. That's not why they're here. They don't have the heart, hunger, or passion for it. But if we sack Ange, I do believe with these players, we'll be more competitive, we'll have better game management, and we will have far greater control of matches than what I'm seeing. It's all good and well, fans saying, oh, but we've got injuries, injury crisis. They're knackered. We didn't have an injury crisis when we lost to Palace, Ipswich, and Brighton. There was no injury crisis then. So that, for me, is an excuse. We didn't have we had some injuries, some key injuries. No Bentancur, no Richarlison, no Odebert, no Romero, no Van de Ven, and we went and smashed City 4-0. So we can't pick and choose when we use injuries as an excuse and when we say things like, oh, but we've got injuries, we've got problems. That's what the manager gets paid to do, to navigate through these challenges. If I know my team is knackered, they need a rest, do you know what I do? I change my tactics to accommodate that period of time until I can get players back. Stop the high line. Stop the inverted fullbacks. Stop trying to play it out from the back, which puts us under pressure. Alleviate some of the stresses that we are putting on the players. Change the way you play just to navigate through the period. But this guy doesn't do it. He's like, no, this is who we are. This is how we play. I don't understand any fan who thinks Ange is the answer to Tottenham Hotspur. He has not progressed us. He's regressed us. We've gone backwards under Ange. I gave him that year. That transfer window summed it up to me. I knew what was coming and I said it and it was spot on, word for word. Everyone go back and watch what I said in June. Word for word, it's come true. So I hear what you're saying, Ben. But for me, another manager definitely makes us competitive for the top four. And here's the other thing. I actually believe if we had a proper manager in place that cared about defending as much as attacking and was more tactically astute in key moments of games, that could read the game better and adapt to it, I think with these players, he could win the Europa Cup. I think another manager with this squad could win the Europa Cup. I think Ange is going to blow it. And I think he is blowing it. In fact, we are. Look around us. We're blowing it.
What manager are you looking at to come in? Like, who would you like?
I don't want a gung-ho manager. And I think if we have an ultra-pragmatic manager, like another Conte or Mourinho, the fans will just turn on them. We don't want someone that takes more of a defensive approach. We just lose our minds because we must play a certain way and we must play the Tottenham way and everything must be perfect, and which is a nonsense. I just want winning football. So what I would like that I think is realistic is Areola, I think, is a good shout. The guy at Bournemouth. I think the guy at Brighton's a bit too young. I'd take Marco Silva. I think the manager of Girona, I think he's doing a great job. I'd take him. I just want someone that isn't scared to coach defending, that isn't scared to change the way we play and adapt, even if it's against your principles. Do you know what? Once Arteta went to Arsenal, he inherited Unai Emery's squad. He won the FA Cup in 6 months. Go watch what Arsenal did in the semi-final and the final when they beat Man City and Chelsea. Against Man City, they low blocked it for 90 minutes and beat them. Arteta changed his way just for that one game to get to the final. I want to see Ange do that consistently, and he doesn't do it, and he's not going to do it. I've seen enough to know he's not going to do it. He's playing players in the wrong position. He's asking players that are good at one thing to do something different, and I just think he's lost a number of players in the dressing room. I saw him speaking to Porro after the game yesterday, and I've coached enough to know when I see something that I can relate to, and he was talking to Porro and trying to say to him, you know, I expect you to do this and that, and you didn't go into that position when you should have done this. And Porro was looking away like this. He wasn't even looking at Ange because he felt like he was being told off. And then Ange could sense that. And then when he realized that Porro just wasn't engaged enough in that conversation, Porro's like, yeah, nodded his head, okay. And then he gave him a tap on the back and Porro walked off. To me, I've seen that before. That's a player that does not fully believe in what he's doing.
You lost many dressing rooms still before, I see.
I've learned, listen, I've lost players in the past, absolutely. Yeah, right? To say that, hey, everything I did is amazing and I'm the GOAT and yeah, I should manage Tottenham. Listen, banter me away, right? Go for it, guys. Do your best. But I've been in that situation where then I've walked away from it and I've reflected and I've said, do you know something? That player did not listen to what I said. That player did not believe in what I said. I could feel it, you know. And I think Ange knows. And you're seeing it because these desperate measures he's taking, like playing Van de Ven and Romero when they weren't fully fit. Like yesterday, Johnson was rubbish, absolute crap. Son has been rubbish for weeks and he was poor again. Maddison, all right, he was okay. But what does he do? He slams Werner. Buddy.
Well, he was asked about Werner.
You signed Werner twice. Sorry?
He was asked about Werner, so he spoke about him.
But he slammed him. He had a go at him. Like, hold on.
Not only did he slam him still, but also 24 hours before that, he says he wouldn't criticize a player in public.
Ben, this is a guy that's losing the belief of the players. I'm telling you. He says one thing, he does the other. But we're used to that with Ange. He's been doing it for ages now. He says one thing, he does the other. What he did with Werner, you wanted him. I could see it 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I said, it is a disgrace that Spurs have signed Timo Werner. It's an abomination that this caliber of player has come into Tottenham and we think that we are going to go places. Timo Werner was the red flag. That was everyone should have hit, you know, panic, what are we doing? And he allowed that. He accepted that. And now he's saying he needs to fix up. Fix up what? He's a rubbish football player. Timo Werner is not good. And he's saying he should be better. He expects more. Ange, listen, man, you're talking absolute nonsense. It's rubbish what he's talking about. And
would you sack him tonight if you had the chance?
Yes. Yes, I would.
For what, though? Because I'm telling you, I said it before, but any other manager that comes in under this ownership are all going to be expected to accept these kind of signings, accept the direction of the club, and accept the way this club works. That's just the reality of the situation.
Ben,
I think we need to be focusing our anger not at Ange, at other people, and that's the top.
Listen, I've been to the protests, I've done the demonstrations, I bang the Levy out drum on my channel every other week. I have debates and arguments with fans on this all the time. I can't do any more, right? It's down to all the other channels and all the other YouTubers and all the fans in the comments and all the people in the media that moan, complain. But the problem is, I think most of those fans, they're doing it because things aren't going well. If we win the next 3 games, you won't hear a word about Levy out. You won't hear a word about Enoch out. You won't even get that protest that's meant to be planned before Liverpool off the ground. I bet it all collapses. I've seen it before, and I said the other day, this isn't my first Levy out rodeo, man. I'm a regular. You know, I'm like Buckaroo. I'm on that
Well,
horse.
if we beat United, yeah, probably for sure. The Levy out protest probably dies down a bit.
Yeah, so I don't believe fans actually mean what they say. If fans really want a change at this club, like if they genuinely want things to change at Spurs, they should all unite and start making it untenable for this chairman, making it toxic, making it uncomfortable without violence and breaking the law and all that stuff. But we should be doing the kinds of things we've seen other clubs do. Well, I spoke to the chairman of the trust, and I've put a suggestion to him, and he said he's going to try, because I think all the channels, or most of them, need to unite together behind a common method of how we're going to do it. And it's not emails and letters, either a unified protest or a unified boycott or a unified demonstration, or a match where nobody spends money on food and drink, for example. Something that we can all get behind and agree on. And I can't lead that, guys. I can't lead that because I'm too much on the front foot. Someone needs to spearhead it, and I've suggested that Martin. I've suggested to him. I think you might be the right person to do it if you can bring everyone to the table.
But do you feel like even if that's true, and I probably think if it's be able to be done, that's probably, you know, a way to send a message. However, even if you get the big accounts on board and you get this message across, you're not going to get it across to the majority in the stadium. It's just not going to work. I don't think like there's enough people that care enough.
Well, then they've got the club they deserve, right? Don't moan, don't complain, don't blame Mange, don't blame the players, don't blame anyone. Just, you know, let's go for another 3 decades then. If there's Spurs fans that don't care, then they're not Spurs fans. If you don't care about your club, you're not a Spurs fan. I'm tired of all the excuses, guys. Oh, Man City, they're too wealthy. Okay, Man City are faltering this season. It's open now for someone else to do something.
Because you need it on mass scale. Still, you need it on mass scale. You need thousands and thousands and thousands of people on board. Not just a few hundred here and there. You need thousands.
I agree, Ben. I totally agree. But see, we struggled to get numbers to the protest for many reasons. Maybe lack of organisation, maybe lack of leadership, maybe people were scared to associate themselves with the protest because I was there and they don't want to associate themselves with me, because I did hear that. I'm just being honest. Fine, I won't go to the protest. But are you guys, as in the public, are you going to turn up then? I'd like to see that.
But what's the goal so that Tottenham lower their price? Because Tottenham are looking for investment, right? The hierarchy, they're looking for minority stake or whatever. They're open to selling the club if an offer that they deem acceptable comes through. They're open. They've said that, and they haven't said it, but I think it's been reported they're open to selling the club. So is the goal of the protest in the hope that Tottenham will lower their price to make it easier to sell? Is that what we're thinking? Because they're open to selling, it seems, right now. So what do you want to change exactly? Or is the protest in hope that they change their ways? Is that what you're hoping the protest does?
Okay, so there's a few questions there.
Mm-hmm.
My hope is to make their position so uncomfortable, so unenjoyable, and so pressurized that they just want out, which is what happened with Saran and Sugar. That's exactly what happened with Sugar. He just said, I don't want this anymore. How do you do that? If you make enough noise and there's enough negativity and enough toxicity on the club, you know, I don't like saying these things. I don't want culture wars. I don't want YouTube wars. I don't actually want toxicity and poisonous kind of atmospheres. But sadly, this is the only language these wretched owners will understand, because we've seen it in the past. The Levy out chants in the stadium when thousands were chanting it. Levy couldn't handle that, because what happens is, the sponsors get on your case. We don't want to be associated with this. Kit manufacturers, if you stop buying shirts, kit manufacturers, well, we don't want to be a part of this if we're not making sales. Corporate box holders that spend thousands to entertain their guests. A lot of business gets done in these boxes. They don't want a toxic atmosphere. They'll be on the phone to the corporate team at Spurs saying, this isn't a place for me to do business. right? Suddenly, Nike's on your case, sponsors are on your case, corporate box holes on your case. Then there's an emergency board meeting. We can't have this. Then the NFL on the phone. Guys, we protect the brand of the NFL, and right now your brand stinks. We might have to pause the NFL contracts. See, that's how you do it. You squeeze them into a corner where they say, we don't want this anymore. Or, which is what your other question was, force change. But here's the thing. They're not going to change, guys, right? If you look at the stadium, if you look at the revenue streams, if you look at the model they've built, the business model, if you look at the training ground, if you look at the academy, it is 10 out of 10. You cannot fault them. They are outstanding. And do you know why they're outstanding? Because they care about that stuff. They love it. They put their heart, their soul, their energy, their enthusiasm. They threw everything they had into those projects, into those income streams, because they care. You're telling me in 3 decades, they couldn't put together a decent recruitment team, an amazing scouting network, an expertise data analytics team, an outstanding young manager, and put that together and say, right, there's the same love, care, attention, and passion for football. Here's the money we've got. We're going to dump it in there, and we've got the best in the business now to go and make it happen. But they've never done that. They've never, ever done it. They don't put that level of love into the football. And this is my gripe with them. I'm not going to argue that they don't spend. They do spend. We spend, man, but it's spent badly because we don't have the best scouts. We don't have the best networks in place. We don't put the best managers in place. And when we do put the best managers in place, we don't listen to them. We sack them. We don't have the best data analytics. We don't have the best medical department. They've had 3 decades to build that. 3 decades. We've got the longest ownership of any Premier League club. We've got the longest ownership in the history of Spurs. They've had more time to put it together and make it work. Even if we missed out, guys, even if we fell short, we could look at that and say, Jesus, man, they really gave it a go. When you look at the stadium as a fan, you say, wow, they really gave it a go building the best. When you look at the first team training facility in the academy, I've been there many a time. It's outstanding. It is a phenomenal complex. Well done. You really put everything into it. When you look at our business model, the multiple income streams compared to all our rivals, we smash them all out the park because they put everything they've got into generating income. You cannot tell me that is the same when it comes to the football team, guys. Did you agree with what I've just said?
I 100% agree with the majority of what you say. But look, I like you. I've tried to organize protests at the time. I've been to a couple of protests myself as well, a couple of years ago now, and I lost complete kind of drive for it because of the numbers that were turning up, even with the subscriber level that we have, and promoting it on here. No one seemed to turn up, and I just lost complete drive for it. And you look at it, the stadium that we've built and the majority of the fans that go there are just looking to go for a day out. They're looking to go for a day out. They want to buy their beers. They want to have a good time. They don't want to get involved in all this stuff that we're talking about. If you look at the away fans that go, the 3,000 away fans that go on a regularity, it's more likely you'll get them on board. But out of the 60,000 Spurs fans that go home regularly, you're just going to get a small portion of them, and it's not enough. The majority just want a day out.
Ben, you're bang on the money, and that's what and that's why I say, and I know it upsets people. I don't do it to upset people. I say it because it's the truth, and that's why everything you've just said, I blame the fans. I blame Levy for what he's created and what he's put us into from a footballing perspective as fans, what we want as a football fan that wants to see Spurs win trophies. But you have to now point the finger at the fans and say, you are accepting this because you don't take any action, which is why I've said, and I keep posting it on my channel, I'm tired of YouTube channels, debate, balanced conversation. There's no balance after 3 decades. After 3 decades, there's ample evidence as to why we should all be uniting against this ownership. right? YouTubers and podcasters and fans in the comments and fans on social media, the moaning and the whinging but we're debating, we're discussing. Enough. We're just going around in circles. Stand up and take action. But I agree, someone needs to unify. I'm not that guy, and I'm more than capable of being self-aware and holding up my hands and saying I can't be that guy. I'd love to be that guy, but I'm not going to bring everyone together. But I'll fight for the cause. I'll be on the front line. I'll be in the trenches. But we need a general, and I don't know who that is. I mean, I wish Bill Nick was alive. If Bill Nick was alive, oh my God, we'd be fine. He'd lead us into battle against Levy and Enoch all day long. But, Ben, you're right. You're right. But I'm just going to keep doing what I do. And Enoch out, Levy out, make noise. Hopefully the channel grows and it gains more traction. And then I can try and get more fans to think, it is the owners. I do think right now, though, guys, we are in a space where I do believe, I could be wrong, I do believe a lot more fans than ever before are now saying, do you know what? I've had enough of the owners. I have actually had enough of the owners. I do believe a lot more people are on that tightrope. I think it began once they realised 3 years later, after sacking Poch, it was a bad move. I think sacking Jose before a cup final, I think that took a lot of people over the edge. The Conte debacle was the first time we had the big Levy out chants in the stadium and the media were covering it and the protests were getting slightly bigger. This time, it could be the tipping point, Ben. Sim.
I don't know. As much as I don't know. I think obviously at the moment, we're not doing well in the league, and the chatter about Levy out it seems to be growing. I don't know if there's any more now as there would have been when Conte was sacked or when Mourinho was sacked, when there was a Super League and all these different things. I think, again, it's a snapshot in time. As you say, we'll win the next 3 games, it probably quietens down again and no one's talking about it. Like, I think right now, maybe there's building up again, but I just don't think there's a massive appetite for it in general, to be honest.
Do you not feel, though, Stelios, that whenever this kind of debate comes up again and you start hearing the chants in stadiums and all that, he ultimately always ends up sacking the manager? And what happens when he sacks the manager is a new manager comes in, people get a little bit happy again, and then it quietens down, new hope starts to seep in through the fan base, and then we're back to square one again.
This time, I think, might be different for one reason only. I've never seen such love and defense for a manager at Spurs ever. The amount of people that protect Ange, I've never seen anything like it.
Apart from maybe Pochettino, surely.
Pochettino, because he was doing great.
Yeah.
Ange isn't doing great and he's getting love. And he's doing worse than Conte, Mourinho, and Nuno. Ange has been a joke, right? I'm going to say it as is. Ange is an absolute joke. Yet he gets a lot of protection and a lot of fans defending him still. And where were these excuses for those managers?
Has he not had a bigger job than maybe some of the other managers to do?
We've spent more money. He's got a better squad than what the last 2 managers had. He's been given a lot more freedom to get away with it. If this was Conte, Jose, Nuno, they would have been sacked a month ago. Ange is getting a lot more. Yeah,
because their remit was different. They have a different remit to Ange has. Ange was, rebuild the playing style, get a younger, make up for losing Harry Kane, let's be honest, how many times did Harry Kane used to bail us out of games when we were playing terribly? But we lost Harry Kane, so you had to make up for that. You have to integrate younger players into this squad, a lot younger players than maybe in previous years. Head like a complete new project, basically starting again after 5 years in the wilderness. He was being tasked with completely starting like a new kind of project or a new way of playing and a new everything, basically. And I think fans at the moment, the reason why I wouldn't even say there's a lot of love. It's more just why fans are not calling for his head when maybe in previous managers they would have been at the same spot is we've started this project yes, we're 18 months into it and we're 11th at the table and it's not looking good. But let's just stick with it. We've seen other clubs stick with managers through very, very choppy times and come through the other side. And we're sick of just when things are going wrong, all we're doing is always changing the manager. We sack him. We're starting again from we start again from the beginning, and all we have, and we're sick of just not basically seeing it through to the end of the season. At least if we're still in 11th come the end of the season, then fair enough, maybe end it, but we're mid-season. We're sick of mid-season sackings. We're sick of just ending things when we go through a bad period, when it looks like things are bad, when we can just persevere through these choppy times and come through the other side and see where we are. We all talk about at the beginning of the season, trophy. We haven't even given him, if we sack him now, we haven't given him a chance to win a trophy. We're sacking him before he even gets the opportunity. So like, we might as well just persevere. Look, if things go badly, then things go badly, but there's no point at this point. What's the upside in sacking him? We might make a little run or something in the short term, and then we just await for things to go bad again. Because whatever manager comes through, there are going to be some rocky times. There's going to be some time where it looks bad, and at this point, it's looking bad. I don't disagree with a lot of things what you're saying in terms of we're 11th in the table. We've had some very bad defeats, but I think fans are just sick of not persevering with something that we've started, and we've started this. We've gone on this journey, as you call it, with younger players and whatnot. You might as well just persevere with it. I don't see the upside in sacking him. I just don't see it. As much as we might get a bit of short-term gain, maybe with do we turn it around potentially in the short term and stuff like that. If we're gonna have any chance of catching up with teams above us, we've seen it before. It needs to be a long-term thing. I think that's the best job this club anyway, because we're not going to spend the money. So how you make up with not spending the money is spending the time of building up younger players, and that's the best chance we have if we're not going to spend the money. And you're not going to do that by continuing to sack managers mid-season.
We are spending the money. Sim,
we're not spending the required money to bridge the gap, because yes, he spent 400 million. But while spending that 400 million, the wage bill is decreasing and decreasing and decreasing.
Right, but then we go and waste £165,000 a week on Timo Werner. So the wages are being misspent as well. Some of the wages at this club are being misspent as well. Sim, I've listened to everything you just said, right? And I'm so glad you said that. I hear very similar from other fans, okay? And listen, I like you, Sim, right? I like you.
Thanks, Del.
Okay. All right. It's important I say that because I want to tear apart everything you just said.
I like you, but I'm going to destroy your life right now.
We're going to clip up this interview and it's going to be Stel says, "Can't fault the ownership." That'll be the tagline.
Leave me in. There you go.
Oh, there you go. You can clip that.
I am now leaving in. Stel.
Everything you just said, for me,
I
disagree. And I'll tell you why. First of all, who told you this is a project? Who said that?
Ange.
Ange said this is a project, yeah?
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He said it many times.
But it is a project. It's the reality.
He has said it as soon as he came in. That's what it is.
All right, it's a project. So then why is he saying to us, in my second season, I want to challenge for the title?
Because he's an ambitious guy.
But it's a project. On the one hand, give it time, it's a project. On the other hand, challenge for the title. So
he wanted to challenge for the title in his first season. That's just the kind of guy he is. Doesn't mean it's not a project.
That's not a project. Of course, it's not a project. If we're saying give him time, it's a project. Then don't say stuff like that. Don't build up the expectations of the fans, right?
No one was expecting us to win the league.
I came on here 6 months ago and told you it's not happening. I told you the whole thing was going to fall apart. Ange says one thing, then contradicts himself. Do you honestly believe, if you look at all of his signings, the players we have signed are the caliber of player where you see this team becoming something great?
I don't know. That's my point. I don't know. It was all about what I see. It's about sticking with it and finding out instead of just sacking him. That's the whole point. It's a snapshot in time. We're 11th. In a few weeks' time, maybe we win 3 in a row and we're back up to 5th, and it looks very different. Maybe we win. We go far in the Europa League and we actually give that a go. Maybe we win a cup. I don't know, but we're in December. Like
I can guarantee you, we ain't winning 3 games in a row anytime soon.
Okay, whatever. But I'm willing to stick with it. I'm just willing to stick with it.
I know you do. It's desperation. It's desperation because what we've done.
Part of it is, yeah, probably. But I'm sick of.
There you go. There's the problem. Yeah. Right. This is what fans are doing right now. They're saying things like, "We can't keep sacking managers." But what if we've hired the wrong manager for the project? Then we do need to sack the manager. Do you know what the most Spursy thing is? We are backing the manager we shouldn't be backing. The one time you shouldn't be backing a manager, we're backing him. You should have backed Jose. You should have backed Poch for the rebuild. You should have backed Mourinho because Poch proved to us he was bloody good. Mourinho, Conte, they had so much credit in the bank.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have sacked them either. Maybe we shouldn't have sacked them either. I don't know, but I'm just saying right now we've sacked them. That's gone. That's happened.
What we should, yeah, but this is my point. Because we didn't back them and they were the right horses to back, we now put the wrong horse in place and we're saying back him. No.
I said back Conte. Even when before we sacked him, we were very consistent on this channel that we wanted Conte to stay and we should back him.
Tim, you said we've seen with previous managers that if you hold on to them, it works. I'm guessing you're talking about Klopp, Arteta, people like that, yeah? Fergie. Is that what you were referring to? Managers
there were some examples, yeah.
Right. Arteta won an FA Cup in his first 6 months with a squad that he didn't even want. He got rid of that entire squad. Only one person survived, Saka. That says they weren't good enough. But yet with that squad that wasn't good enough, he won the FA Cup, a very difficult domestic cup to win, beating City and Chelsea on the way. He put credit in the bank. He showed that there was something about him. When you look at Jurgen Klopp, he got to 2 finals in his first season. He showed there's something about me. And then he changed the whole squad. This is the first season. This is Ange's second. Sir Alex Ferguson in his second season came second with a bang average Man United team. So these managers, they put credit in the bank. What did Ange show us in his first season? How to capitulate and bottle top 4. What's he showing us in the second season? When the going gets tough, he doesn't know what to do. What has this manager shown to deserve my backing? When you compare him to the other managers that did get time, that clubs did stick with, they showed something. They showed progress.
The season's not over.
Sim, we're not winning the league, are we?
No.
Right. Do you honestly believe we're going to win a cup with this kind of football that destroys players in terms of energy?
This is exactly the kind of football that could win a cup.
Ben, all it is one good team that comes in with the right tactic and they've got us. And we know it because we've seen lesser teams do it to us. We are hoping. We're doing it again. We are hoping. When Poch was here, we went into games. You believed that we could win it. Every fan right now.
And how many cups did we win? Was that were we saying Poch's football didn't win a cup because that kind of football can't win a cup? Like it didn't win because either we got unlucky, but it wasn't because of the football we played. Like that could have won a cup as well. We just didn't. I'm just saying this football from Ange could definitely win a cup because on our day we could be a very good team.
All right. Sim, who would you rather have as manager at Spurs, Poch or Ange?
Poch.
There you go. So
what does that mean?
Criticize Poch for not winning a trophy.
I'm not criticizing. That wasn't a criticism. That wasn't a criticism of Poch. That wasn't a criticism of Poch. What I said.
So what was the point you were making then?
You're saying, how are we going to win a cup with this football? You're saying. And I was arguing, is the football Poch played, is that just because it didn't win one, does that mean it can't win a cup? You know what I mean? I'm saying Ange's football can win a cup.
In the Carabao Cup, right, there's a very good chance, if we beat Man United, let's see, you never know, if we beat Man United, we are going to get Man United. Arsenal. Okay, Ben, I just want to give Sim some energy here, right? I want to play his game. If we beat
you
Man
want to
United,
dangle a carrot.
I'm going to give him the carrot. If we play Man United we are going to come up against Liverpool or Arsenal. Sim, I'll bet my house they knock us out. I bet my house we don't beat them with football. This football we play, they will pick us off. There is no doubt in my mind.
Can we have that in writing? Could do with the house.
So, listen, clip this video. You clipped the one 6 months ago. That all came true. Clip this one as well. We are not going to beat those caliber of teams playing this type of football. We will get found out. I mean, I don't believe we're signing the quality of players that can take us to the levels that Ange thinks that we can achieve. I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think that he's got credit in the bank or he's proven anything to me to compare to what I've seen from previous managers that were given time. I don't believe that this is Project Youth either. What? Because Archie Gray and Bergvall get a couple of minutes in Europe. That's not Project Youth. Play Archie Gray as the 6 in the Premier League when we're not playing well. Bring on Bergvall and give him half a game instead of 10 minutes at the end. Right? That would be more of a Project Youth for me. And it's not 2 youngsters. Bring 3 or 4 through. But he doesn't do that. And this notion of, and again, look, it's opinion, Sim. You know, if you want to back him and you want to go down that road, then, you know, you can do it. There's many other fans that do it as well. But for me, the most Spursy thing right now that we're doing is we can't keep sacking managers. So we're going to stick with a manager that is most probably the wrong one. I don't think Ange is the right guy because tactically he's inept. We've been outdone by Silva, Herzler. We've been outdone by Areola. We've been outdone by what's his name? The guy
McKenna.
McKenna's outdone us. These managers have outflanked Ange. Fulham played Arsenal the other day. When we played Fulham, they were very attacking. In fact, all season Fulham have been attacking. When they played Arsenal, they changed the way they played. And after the game, the manager said, we had to change because it was Arsenal. That's what I'm talking about. And the most frustrating thing of all is, Ange, when we went to Man City, whether Man City pushed us back or whether we adapted, we were much deeper. We weren't mucking around with the ball at the back every minute. We did send balls long and wide. It's how we scored the first goal, Kulusevski. Dragusin sent a long ball out wide and then we went in for the goal. And we were far more compact. The fullbacks weren't inverting as much. And I thought, right, well done, Ange. You've adapted. You've got no Van de Ven. You've got no Romero. You've adapted. And that was our best performance of the season, given the circumstances. I better bite my tongue here because if Ange does that again, we might have a solution out of this mess. But he reverts back to type. And we lose to Ipswich. We can't beat Roma. We get beaten by Galatasaray. We looked absolutely woeful last night. It's him. That is on him, guys. And I don't understand why we're so scared to say it for what it is. Look, for me, I think Ange is a problem. I think Lange, the recruitment officer, is a problem. And I think Levy and Enoch need to go. I don't think it's just one thing. I think it's all of them that are a problem. But of course, the common denominator is Levy and Enoch. So they will always be the biggest problem. Always. And you're right. If we get rid of Ange and we bring in another manager, will things change? Well, I don't think we'll win anything, but I think we'll have a better chance and be in a better position in the league because another manager that's a bit more tactically savvy definitely gets a better tune out of what I'm seeing right now. There's no doubt in my mind. And I think the players are giving up. I think that, you know, Romero's comments, now he's digging out Timo. We've seen this all before. You know, I don't understand why we can't just say, do you know what? Ange might just be the wrong guy, man. Maybe he's just the wrong guy. But then, yes.
Still, the reality is, if this carries on, he will lose his job. So whatever you want to say about him, whatever we want to say about him, if this carries on for, you know, another week or another 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it may be, the guy will lose his job. But I don't want to sit here and focus on it and call for Ange's head because I just think that's masking away from what the real problem is. Bigger managers, better managers have all come here through this door and not done any better or any worse than Ange Postecoglou. Still haven't won a trophy. We might finish 4th on a lucky year under Conte, but Mourinho didn't finish inside the top 4, finished 7th or whatever it may be. Ange finished 5th in his first season. Like, bigger managers and better managers are coming in here and doing the same, Lan. Exactly the same. So
they're not.
They are.
Phenomenal. Mourinho got to a cup final. Conte got us top 4 against all the odds, and then the following season when he left,
Mourinho got us to a cup final. Ange has had a chance to do it. Give him a chance.
No, because the football wasn't.
No,
we weren't
there you go. Well, come on.
No, because he's got no credit in the bank. Mourinho was a proven winner everywhere he's been. He had credit in the bank. You want me to back him just because I gave other managers a chance? Other managers earned their stripes.
Still, the club isn't going anywhere. The club isn't going anywhere under this ownership. There's no point in sacking the manager. There is no point.
Okay, but I've just said to you guys, there is a point, because I think another manager actually gives us a better chance of Europe. I do believe that. I think a better manager gets more out of this team from a tactical aspect. He's killing Udogie and Porro, man. He's rinsing them.
We don't have options. We don't have options either.
Whose decision was it not to put Reguilón and Spence in the squad for Europe?
Well, yeah, Ange has definitely got to take the flak for that 100%. It's a disgrace that Spence ain't in the soul. And it's a disgrace he's not been played in the Premier League either.
But then Forster wouldn't be there.
Well, at least Premier League.
Listen, these are tactical decisions that he has to live by. He created this mess. You didn't want to. You've got 2 fullbacks in the club that don't start, and you didn't want to put one in the Europa Cup squad. So if you got an injury in Europe, Ange, to a fullback, what's your plan?
There is no plan.
So he sticks the number 6, who costs 40 million, into the right back. And then we're supposed to say, oh, but give Ange a chance. No. He had a whole year to suss this stuff out. He had a whole year to map this out. And when I came on the show back in June, I said to you guys, we, by signing Timo Werner, are setting a marker of what's to come. And all the journalists, they sold this dream to the fans, all these wonderful players we were going to sign. And I said, no, we're not. Look, can you not read what this club does? How many times have we been here before in the past? And it played out exactly as I said. And then, even then, fans were saying, trust in Ange, my manager.
Has he had what he needs to succeed in the job, though?
Ben, if he hasn't been given the tools, then he needs to walk. Instead, he sits here taking all the flack, saying, it's on me, my decisions. Fine, then own it, man. Own it. Conte, he's like, do you know what? I'm done. And he blew the lid off of it. He absolutely nailed everyone. I'd rather Ange did that and walked and said, this isn't what I signed up for. This isn't the agreement that I had. I never wanted Werner. They did. But I had to accept him because it was that or nothing. Ange, then tell us, because if you do come out and say that, everyone will get behind you and everyone will turn on the board. But what he's doing now, he's giving Levy a get-out pass. By doing what Ange is doing now, he's basically saying to some fans, blame me. And then we go back to the problem.
Well, there'll be 2 get-out passes then, because there's get-out pass for him staying in the job because he's providing a shield for them. And then there'll be a get-out pass for when he gets sacked and the new manager comes in and then New Hope comes in. So there's always going to be a get-out clause for Enoch and Levy.
I think, though, like I said to you, I've never seen a manager so loved and protected who's done nothing to deserve it than this guy, which makes me think if Levy sacks him, I think the fans will turn on Levy. I think there's enough. I don't like using this word, but it's the word that gets used. Angesexuals, right? We said it for Jose. We said there was Jose. But there's enough angesexuals in this fan base that will turn, I think. That will say, no, you took my Ange away. You took my project away. You took the thing that I put
Is this why you want Ange sacked? Is this the real ulterior motive?
I want him sacked. 1, because I don't think he's good enough. In fact, I think his tactics are abysmal. And 2, yeah, I think it makes everyone go Levy out as well. It's a win-win if he gets sacked for me, because I think that's the way it will go. But
I don't know. I don't think it will make everyone. I think maybe in the short term it will, but then a new manager will come in, a new hope will come in, and then everyone will just forget about it.
Yeah, but then you're saying to all the fans and all the YouTubers and all the podcasters and all the people in the comments, you're saying to all those people that backed this project that got on board with this project, that were happy that Conte was gone, that have been so loyal to this project to now ditch everything they've said and ditch everything they believed in, and
they
just
have no choice to.
Get that happened.
They have no choice to.
You're
that's
right.
What the situation they'll be in.
But my belief is they're not going to stomach another project, another process. I honestly think fans will not stomach another new project because, like you said, Ben, they know in 18 months' time it will collapse. They know it will. I know it will. And that's why they're so sticking by Ange, more so in defiance to not wanting to go back to another project, rather than actually saying, well, hold on, what if this guy's the wrong man for the project?
Well, we're just so used to abandoning projects. Well, there's just no point abandoning another one. You might as well stick with it. Even if it's bad right now, just stick with it. And just that's our best hope, I think.
Why would you stick with it? Why would you stick with a failing process? Like, do you know what this is like saying? Do you know what we're doing here? It's like you're married. You've had 5 divorces and you're on your 6th marriage. And the missus comes home and she says, I'm really sorry, but I cheated on you. You're like, what? Yeah, I cheated on you. And then you're thinking about what to do. You need time to digest it. And then the next day she comes home and says, I cheated on you again. I can't go through another divorce. I can't get rid of another person in my life. But what if she's told you she's the wrong person? What if the signs are she's the wrong person? Because of the past, you're not going to repeat it. Well, you keep either picking the wrong people.
But you've had some great days together.
This is the problem, right? I would divorce her immediately. Sim would be thinking, oh, do you remember that time, darling, when we went to Chessington World of Adventures? We had a good day out, didn't we?
I want more of those days.
But she doesn't want to with you. She'd rather do it with other guys, Sim. That's my point. It's like...
Okay, this analogy's broken down now. I don't know how that makes sense.
Because Sim still wants her. It broke down because Sim still wants her, which is why, my argument of why can't we get rid of another manager? This argument is kind of...
We can, but I think what people are seeing, yes, we're clearly very inconsistent, and right now the form is terrible. I don't think anyone can deny that. But when we were playing well, we do play very well, and he can get us to playing at a very high level. So is it worth just hoping he can somehow get some consistency in this team and get us to that level more consistently? Or is it just saying just bin it all off because at the moment we're in bad form and we've been inconsistent for a year. So just bin it all off now and hope that a new project and hope a new manager can get us some short-term gain.
You say at the moment we're in bad form, but when have we been in good form?
When have we been in good form?
This manager, after the first 10 games he had, it's been a disaster. We've got abysmal stats. We've got woeful statistics of his performance. What's happened this year is we had some really exciting performances against Villa, West Ham, Man City, and we look at that and we completely ignore the other 13 league
No one's ignoring it. No one's ignoring it.
No, what you're doing is you're focusing on the minority of good times and not actually admitting the majority has been abysmal. It has been shocking. And we've got away with murder, by the way. That Coventry game, we got away with murder. We're lucky we're in the Carabao Cup. Fine, we're in it. Winning is winning. I can't.
And who saved us that day still? Who saved us that day?
Ange.
No, Jed Spence.
Yeah, it was Jed Spence and Brennan Johnson. They both saved us. Kulu, those 3 saved us. You're right. Listen, the point overall that I'm making is, and it's why I wanted to come on. 6 months ago, when I came on your show, I just knew in my heart of heart, if we re-signed Timo Werner, I knew what was coming next. I'm not surprised by this because if there was a genuine project, a real plan in place, what they would have done, if they really gave a shit, this is what they would have done. They would have said, right, first season over, we bottled top 4. The first team isn't quite good enough. The bench isn't strong enough. But hey, we're back in Europe. It's a positive. Let's go and get 3 or 4 game changers, actual game changers. And if
but I feel that's what Ange wanted, though. That is what Ange wanted. He wanted a Pedro Neto. He wanted a Conor Gallagher. He wanted a Eberechi Eze.
Did he?
He did.
Who knows?
I'm pretty certain he did.
I don't believe I don't believe what the journalists say half the time. For me, if you can't get those elite players or those really good players, then do what other clubs do and have exceptional scouting. We scouted Van der Ven. Why can't we scout like that again and again and again? Go and get 3 or 4 players of Van der Ven's level who we haven't heard of, who are brilliant. Exactly what Brighton do. Exactly what other clubs do. And then bring them in and you say, right, we've got those 4 excellent players. They go into the first team. They're going to replace A, B, and C, and D. A, B, C, and D, you're now on the bench. We've strengthened the bench. We've now strengthened the bench by doing that. And then the weak ones on the bench, bye-bye, get out. But we didn't do that. We signed one guy for the first team and the rest are on the bench. So they're not developing. They're not getting enough minutes. What we did, that is not a project. It made no sense what we did this summer. And as soon as we signed Werner, I said, no project has Timo Werner in it. No intelligent human being can look at Werner after last season and say, that's a good idea. Let's keep Timo Werner. And what's he doing now? He's throwing Werner under a bus. Buddy, don't bullshit me about project and stop talking to me about what you're going to do at this football club. That is on you. And I knew it as soon as we re-signed it. I'm not surprised this has happened because I said word for word this is going to happen. I said at some point the wheels are going to come flying off, and what we'll do is we'll probably navigate through it, get our shit back together, and then it'll come crashing down again. And that's what I believe will happen. But this is worse than what I thought, by the way.
Where do you think we should even be finishing this season, like in terms of the strength of the squad?
Well, the same group of players plus without the new signings finished 5th last season.
Yeah,
so
but you also had
the minimum target.
But you also have emergence of other teams like Chelsea who are a lot better and a lot better than us that were poor last season.
Well, last season, the Spurs fans said, and Gary Neville said that they're a £1 billion bottle job, and that they've randomly wasted money on lots of players. And I was told spending big doesn't work. Look at Chelsea. No, what Chelsea did was their manager improved them towards the end of the season. Pochettino improved them, and he got them to cup finals in his first season. A new manager came in and took them to the next level. And that's what I believe Spurs need to do. You've got an average group of players. Ange is going to continue accepting average groups of players because he never came in to spend money on superstars. He came in because look at his work in the past and the type of players he signed. We thought we're going to unearth all these gems from Asia and the continents that we don't know what type of players exist over there. And Ange is going to turn everyone into a gem. What player has he developed other than Kulu? You tell me, hand on your heart, who's he really developed into a top player other than Kulusevski this season?
Fraser Forster.
Jesus Christ. All right, I'll give it to him. Let's give him Forster because, listen, he's proven me wrong for sure. Fair play to Forster. But has Udogie improved? Has Porro improved? Has Romero? Has Van der Ven? Has Dragusin? Has Sarr? Has Basuma? Has Maddison? Have any of these players improved?
I think as of this season, I don't think any of them have improved on last season apart from Decky. Ben Davis and Forster are the only ones. Brennan.
Yeah, but listen, Brennan's improved his goal ratio, but as a football player, he's gone backwards. He's getting worse. As a footballer, he's trash. His goal ratio, fair play, he's improved. See, Sim, he hasn't improved anyone, but you want to keep him in hope that one day you get to go to Chessington with him.
The reality is, like, you take Arteta's FA Cup out of it, though, in the first 2.5 years, Arsenal fans were saying a lot of the same things about Arteta. Arteta out, 8 losses in a row. This guy's tactically inept. I mean, a lot of fans were saying that about Arteta. And then he finally got the team that he wanted. But I just don't believe Ange will ever get the team that he wants.
But Arteta, you say forget the FA Cup he won. No, that's what bought him those 2 years. The reason the board gave him those 2 years is because that FA Cup put credit in the bank, right? If he hadn't won that FA Cup, I don't believe he'd still be here. And also, Arteta got a little bit lucky that COVID happened and there were no fans in the stadium pissed off, angry, and just losing their minds. So Arteta caught a bit of life, but like I said, he put credit in the bank. He showed with a group of players that aren't his, I can win a trophy. So the board looked at him and said, you know what? You've won silverware without your players. Let's give you your players. It's going to take 3-4 years, but show us. What's
yeah, but I don't buy that because still, I don't buy that because if if Ange Postecoglou would have won a trophy in his first season, yeah, and then in the next 2 years he's finishing eighth, nowhere near any sort of trophies. Are you going to sit there and be like, all right, this guy's the right man for us because he won a trophy in his first year, but the next 2 years have been absolutely dog shit?
If Postecoglou won a trophy last season, right now I'd be saying, guys, don't sack him. We're still in the Carabao. We're still in Europa. He's proven he can do it. Keep him.
Yeah, but if he lost 8 games in a row and finished 8th in 2 consecutive years after that, would you still be saying that?
If we were in the Cups, I would still be saying that. Because
Arteta was going out in the early rounds of the Cup in those 2 years after the FA Cup win.
Okay, but he was rebuilding his team, and he earned the right to do it because he showed what he can do without his team. Just like Klopp in his first season, without his team, he got to 2 finals. Fergie, without his team, came second in the league. And with 10 new signings, bottled top 4, 5 more signings, this is abysmal. Like, I don't think it's right that we compare Ange to managers that put credit in the bank. But we are doing that. We're being Spursy.
Well, points-wise, after 50 games, they're very similar.
Yeah, but they were rebuilding off the back of managers putting credit in the bank, Sim. I don't think you're listening to what I'm saying. They earned the right to do it. They earned the right to be given that period of time and for people to just, bite their lip. Ange hasn't earned that. Ange has shown us when the going gets tough, we collapse.
But they came into clubs that consistently win trophies. They came into clubs that consistently win trophies. We don't.
Ben, whether a club consistently wins trophies or not, it's what the manager does with the group of players that he's got. Ten Hag, the only reason he got the third season is because he won the trophy in the first season. And the only reason he never got sacked last season, because he was shocking, was because he won another trophy. He bought himself credit and he put credit in the bank.
All right, so give Ange a chance to win a trophy instead of sacking him mid-season. That's all I'm saying. He might not be the guy, but I'm just willing to wait it out. I'm not willing to sack him right now. It's not. I just don't see the point.
Okay. All right. Just look at decisions in key moments.
Oh, okay.
Last season, Carabao Cup. You don't care because it's the truth. You don't want to have this debate.
Yes, we've been through this round. We've been, I know he rested players in the Carabao Cup and we went out. I know all this stuff.
That resting of players was Ange's tactical brain. Last season, playing Skip at left back, when we said Salah's going to rinse us if we do that, he does it still. Or playing Ben Davies there in another game. We could see what's going to happen, but tactically, he still does it. This season, we said, stop the inverted fullbacks. We don't have to always have a high line. We don't always need to play out from the back. He still does it. We're not losing games. We're not playing badly simply because of injuries or because he wasn't backed. Tactically, he's doing no favors for anyone. That's what I'm pointing out. He's tactically inept.
I don't disagree with you to a certain extent, but on the same side, I'm just going to take it back to what I said before. All sacking him is going to do is create another mask for this ownership, and I promise you, you might think there'll be an uprising after Ange Postecoglou gets sacked for this board. There might be a short-term one, but fans will forget it very quickly and they'll move on and they'll start backing the new manager, and then the cycle continues. That's all that's going to happen.
Okay,
so we need.
Ben, I'll ask you one question. I'll ask you one question, both you and Sim, and then we can end it because I don't want to tire Sim out, right? I don't want to spend everyone consuming everyone, right? No, because it can get exhausting. I get it. It's happening across the fan base. People are fed up. I appreciate it. I'll ask you one question. You guys stick with the project. Don't sack him. Keep him. All right. You're allowed to have that view.
No, thank you.
Many fans have the same view, right? What is your breaking point then with this manager? Right, we're already broken with the owners. We've already said we want the owners gone. We're fed up with them. We're sick to death of leaving Enoch. It's up to the fan base whether they rise or whether they just make noise and that's all they ever do. With this manager specifically, what's your breaking point? If we lose to Southampton, crash out the Carabao Cup to Man United.
I'm broken already, Stel. I don't need a breaking point. I'm completely broken already. This football club broke me weeks ago, man. I've passed my breaking point.
Breaking point when you say, do you know what? Actually, get rid of the manager. In fact, now it's gone too far. Because, like I said, if we lose to Southampton, which I don't think we will, go out the Carabao Cup, lose to Liverpool, and then let's say lose or draw with Wolves as well. Suddenly we're 15th. The teams we battered, like West Ham and Man United, they're now 3-4 points above us. We're out of a domestic cup, the easiest one to win. At that point, will you two still say there's no point sacking Ange, or would you be like, no, we got to get rid of him now? This is ridiculous. What I want to know where your point of I've had enough of this manager is. Where's your breaking point?
I've asked this question a lot, Stelios. I've asked this question a lot about a breaking point, and I've been one. I don't know if you've watched any of the content over the past 2 weeks, but I've been heavily critical of Ange Postecoglou, and in terms of in terms of where my breaking point is with Ange, I think this club is beyond broken, and I don't think it, like I've said before, I don't think it matters who the manager of this football club is at this moment in time. I really don't. And if I'm going to say when is the right time to sack Ange, I'll probably say when this season is completely dead and we're out the cups and we're going absolutely nowhere in the league. That's probably when the right time is to sack him.
What does nowhere in the league mean, Sim? Ben, sorry. What does that mean? What is that? Mid-table, relegation?
Mid-table, and a long way off. When it looks untenable for the top 5, let's say.
So really, we need to be kind of 11th, 12th, and about 12, 15 points off of 5th, something like that.
Yeah, maybe even a bit less than that. Maybe 7.
Okay, well, that could be in 2 weeks' time then. So in 2 weeks' time, potentially.
It could be, but I also said out of all the cups.
All right, so then that's going to be, oh, freaking hell, we're going to be here till May. Or
You're lucky I don't run this club, Stel.
Yeah, well, my channel will get shut down. You'd shut it, like, get rid of it. Sack Stel. What about you, Sim? By the way, that was a joke. I didn't mean that. Sim, what about you? Are you the same as Ben then? Are you... kind of
look, I want to give him the season. Obviously, if it gets to like March time and we're out of Europa League, we're out of Carabao, we're nowhere in the league, we're out of the FA Cup as well, then at that point I'll sit here and say I'd like he's not even got any hope of having a successful season. Of course, we want this season to be a success. If we get close in a few things and we just fall short near the end, then that's one thing. But if we're out of everything come March, and we're still like 11th in the table, and we're out of all the cups, then yeah, I'd have to say that's nowhere near good enough. And right now, it's obviously nowhere near good enough. I'm not saying 11th is acceptable, but as long as it's so tight and as long as we're in all the cups, he's got a chance for me to turn it around, and I'm willing to give him that opportunity. I'd rather do that than sack him and hope that it turns around with a new manager. Because I just don't see the point in doing that right now. I think our best hope is to try and stay on a long-term path if we can. And I think right now there's still a pathway for that. So I'm going to stick with it.
And also on top of that, Stel, I don't think we get in any competent manager midway through this season.
Yeah, we'll probably have to turn to Mason.
Man United paid the money and got Amorim in. Arteta joined Arsenal mid-season.
He was an assistant manager. Yeah, we could get an assistant manager if we want one, sure.
Amorim was the first team manager at Sporting Lisbon. So basically, you guys don't think that we could bring in a manager now that does a better job with this current crop of players? You don't think that?
I can't see who's going to leave. Who's going to leave? You're going to get Iraola out of Bournemouth right now? I don't think so.
Why would you not leave Bournemouth if Spurs came calling? And you can offer,
because Spurs just seems like a poison chalice at the moment. Like, why would he leave? He's got a good thing going on at Bournemouth right now. He's only joined recently. Why would he leave?
Because he's got more chance of doing something at a bigger club than Bournemouth. What's he going to achieve at Bournemouth?
I think maybe he'll look at it at the end of the season, but I don't think halfway through the year when he's looking like he's doing a really good job there.
Okay. Last question, and then I'll stop. If we could get him out of Bournemouth, right? We're talking fictitiously. If we could price him out of Bournemouth now, would you take him?
I don't think right now Iraola, with the injuries we have, gets more out of this squad physically. Like, I don't see, he's just as intense manager. He demands aggression and physicality, and clearly we're struggling with that at the moment. So I don't think right now he gets more out of the players at this point in time. Look, obviously, does he lose to Ipswich and Palace and blah, blah, blah? I don't know. But I'm just saying, at this point in time, I don't think much changes right now whilst the squad's in the state it is.
So basically you're saying Areola can't get a better tune out of these players that we've currently got?
I'll tell you what, Stel, if Pochettino was available now, I'll take him back right now.
I would take any manager on this planet that wasn't scared to be defensive as well as attacking. I would honestly we've gone from one extreme to another extreme, and there's no balance with the manager. The most balanced managers we've had were Redknapp and Pochettino. I think Conte could have been balanced, but he needed his specific players to do it. But we've gone from very pragmatic defenders and managers, and I understand why they were like that with the players that they were given. But we've gone from one extreme to the complete other, and it exposes us in so many ways. And Ange, for me, isn't going to budge from that. And this is going to continue to happen whilst he's at the club. I want a manager who's got balance. Someone that can say, do you know what? Yes, we're going to attack. Yes, we're going to try and be exciting, but I'm not going to negate the defensive responsibilities that are required at this level of football that I'm operating in, which is the Premier League. Because that's why teams like Ipswich can beat us. That's why teams like Crystal Palace can beat us, because you neglect not just setting us up to be defensive in phases, but the individual development of the players, the defenders, is woeful. For me this season, just forget the tactics. As individuals, one-on-one, Udogie, Porro, Van de Ven, Romero have all gone backwards as defenders. And that is coaching.
I agree.
And that's why
I do agree,
manager, guys, because I don't think he's going to change that. I don't believe he'll fix that. So, but that's
but also, let's just get it right. The anger, I think, when we're giving anger towards Ange Postecoglou, we all know where it should be mainly placed at, and that's the ownership. And I don't think we should tide away from that. I really don't. I think it should be continued to be targeted towards the owners and not the manager.
Listen, Levy out, ENIC out before anything else. They've had 30 years to show the love, care, attention, hunger and desire for the football team, the way they've shown it for the architecture, the finances, and building their wealth portfolio. They hire the managers, they hire the recruitment teams, they put in the networks so that these people can operate in, and they hire the football directors. It is on the board. If you said to me tomorrow, get rid of Levy but keep Ange, I will be Ange in. I will be so Ange in if I knew Levy was going tomorrow. But do I think Ange is the solution? No, I don't. So I want them all gone. But Ben, I 100% agree with you. I want this wretched ownership gone, man. And the question isn't, are you Levy out? Are you Levy in? The question is, have you got the appetite to roll the dice and take a chance on a new ownership? Because let's have it right. As much as I'm Levy out, we could end up with a worse ownership. We could end up with Levy 2.0, or we could end up with the best ownership ever. I don't know where those chips will land. All I know is I want to give it a go because I don't want this anymore. I don't want what I've experienced under this ownership another day. And if it means we might end up with a worse ownership as much as a brilliant ownership, guys, I'm prepared to take the chance. And that's the question fans need to ask themselves. Do you want to take that chance? If the answer is yes, you've got to start protesting. You've got to start boycotting. You've got to whatever it is that works for you. You've got to do something. But if you don't want to take the chance, stop moaning, stop complaining, and just get on with it. Because this moaning and whinging, you need to make a choice. Take a chance or not. And I think that's where it all lies. That's the big question. Are you prepared to take a chance? I think that's maybe why some people are hesitant.
All right, I think we're going to leave it there, Stelios. Thanks for coming on, mate. Been a long time coming, and we'll see you soon, my friend.
Thank you for letting me come on for 5 minutes. Appreciate it.
5 minutes, yeah. See you later, mate.